The man was stunned to discover he could actually see the winning amounts on scratch-off tickets. To test if it was real, he immediately spent $15 on a ticket, but when he scratched it off, he actually won $1 million outright. Before he could even celebrate, his ex-girlfriend arrived with her best friend. She mistakenly thought he bought the ticket hoping to win big overnight to win her back. She publicly urged him to stop chasing pipe dreams. She even claimed that if he won $50, it would be a miracle. But just then, the lottery shop owner handed the man $1 million ticket. His ex-girlfriend was stunned. Filled with regret, she immediately asked to get back together, but the man couldn't be bothered to look at her. He turned and walked away without a second glance. But just as he reached the lottery shop entrance, he got a call from his best buddy inviting him to go fishing by the river. After hanging up, he headed to the riverbank with his fishing rod. But just then, he unexpectedly spotted a piece of dog's head gold buried in the ground. To avoid his buddy noticing, he deliberately waited until his buddy left before starting to dig. To his surprise, he actually unearthed a piece of dog's head gold. This made the man absolutely ecstatic. The next day, the man couldn't wait to take this dog head gold to an auction house. He planned to sell it through an auction, but the auction house owner stated that to participate in the auction, one must meet a $5 million capital threshold. A wave of secret delight washed over the man. He thought to himself that he now possessed the ability to see through an item's true value. A mere $5 million was just a matter of time. He asked the owner for 5 hours, assuring him he would definitely raise the $5 million within that time. Then he left the place. But as soon as he stepped out of the auction house, he was stunned to discover a piece of extremely valuable jade at a roadside stall. He immediately asked the vendor for the price. The vendor demanded $10,000. Without hesitation, the man paid the full amount. The vendor thought he'd found a sucker. This scene was witnessed by the female owner of the auction house. She too assumed the man was just a clueless fool. She immediately approached him and asked if he hadn't been a bit too impulsive. But the man insisted everything was under his control. He then instructed the vendor to cut open the jade. Once the stone was split open, it revealed $1 million piece of Hutchian jade inside. The scene erupted instantly. Onlookers scrambled to bid for it. Even the auction house owner offered $5 million outright. Without hesitation, the man sold it to her for that exact price. The owner instantly realized he was no ordinary man. He had genuinely scraped together $5 million in just 5 hours. The female owner kept her word and handed the auction invitation to the man. She stated that the doghead gold nugget he brought would be the first item up for auction. After finalizing the cooperation details, the man arrived at the auction house entrance. But just as he was about to enter the auction hall, his ex-girlfriend and her new wealthy second-generation boyfriend also arrived. They immediately mocked him, declaring he was utterly unworthy of being there. They even claimed that even if he won $1 million scratch-off lottery jackpot, it wouldn't cover the minimum bid threshold for this auction. But just then, the female owner of the auction house approached. She explained that everyone present had undergone prior financial verification. The man, of course, was fully qualified to be there. She then escorted him into the auction hall. Once all the guests had arrived, the female owner immediately announced the official start of the auction. The first item up for auction today was this gold nugget. The man's ex-girlfriend's eyes lit up instantly. She promptly urged her wealthy second-generation boyfriend to buy it for her. The rich kid readily agreed. He immediately bid $20 million. But at that very moment, the man's best friend countered with a bid of $30 million. Refusing to be outdone, the rich second-generation heir immediately raised his bid to $50 million. However, the man's best friend did not continue bidding. Instead, he simply conceded the piece to the rich heir. Only then did the rich heir realize he'd been played. And this was merely the beginning. The instant the auctioneer's hammer fell, the female owner stood up and declared the doghead gold belonged to the man. She thanked the rich second-generation heir for his support of the auction. The man's ex-girlfriend was instantly dumbfounded. She couldn't believe he possessed such a large piece of doghead gold, but the man simply replied that she didn't know him at all. Just then, the second item of the auction was brought up. It was a raw jadeite stone highly likely to yield top-grade jade. The starting bid was $500,000. The man immediately activated his X-ray vision. To his astonishment, he discovered it was a top-grade imperial green jadeite worth $30 million. Yet the guests below the podium seemed unimpressed with the stone. Even the auctioneer believed the lot would go unsold. Just as he prepared to declare it unsold, the man abruptly bid $510,000. Everyone was stunned. His best friend urged him not to be impulsive, but the man looked utterly confident, insisting he couldn't be mistaken. The rich kid, however, declared it was surely worthless rock. He claimed he'd never seen such a large stone yield jade. The man paid him no mind. At that moment, the auctioneer declared the man the successful bidder at $510,000. But the rich kid wasn't done. He immediately challenged the man to cut open the stone right then and there. He couldn't wait to see him humiliated. His ex-girlfriend even declared that if the rough stone truly yielded jade, she would kneel on the ground and bark like a dog. The rich kid stood up abruptly, declaring he wanted to make a bet with the man. If the man's rough stone failed to produce jade, the man would kneel and call him dad 3 times. But if jade emerged, he would crawl out of the venue. The man promptly agreed, declaring that whoever backed out would be a dog. He then instructed the staff to cut open the raw raw stone. Once the stone was split open, the entire crowd erupted. Inside was $1 million imperial green jadeite. The rich second-generation heir was now utterly panicked.